So Sunday's defeat followed a disappointing night at St Mary's with the 2-1 defeat at Newcastle. What was your take of that game, Nick? What did you make of that? Because in isolation, it's not so bad, but maybe today you kind of look at it and go, it's not great when you look at them together.
No, I think Newcastle's goals. I mean, the Bruno goal. I mean, people are talking about a back heel or whatever. That was a mule kick. It was absolutely brilliant, lovely piece of skill. And to get in the position and whatever, it's one of those. It was a crowded box, and then you had Shelvey's delivery for the Wood goal. I mean, Salisu. You could argue that he should have been tracking a bit better, but it wasn't terrible defending. So they scored 2 good goals, and we scored 1. But again, I was looking at the stats afterwards, because while I thought it was a bit of a mere performance from us, the actual possession. I mean, this was surprising when I looked it up. 68% we had possession against 32 for them. Pass success 84% for us against 69% for them. Shots 15 shots for Saints, 5 on target, 5 blocked, 4 off target, and obviously Shea hit the woodwork. Whereas Newcastle had 8 shots, 4 on target, 3 blocked and 1 off target. I mean, it can, in our shots, Stu, Mo had 3 each, and Bruno had 3 for them. Shea and Salisu also had 2 each. So we had shots. So again, it was not taking our chances. It was not being clinical enough. I don't think it was a terrible performance, because the statistics show that we had the possession, we had the shots. We didn't convert them. So I was left thinking, absolutely, we should have won the game, and it was really disappointing we didn't. But I didn't come away from that thinking that was absolutely awful, because I was absolutely sure that we'd get 3 points today and everything would be great again.
Yeah, and there lies the problem. Ben, same result, different feel to the defeat. I mean, I was fuming after the game against Newcastle, but when you look back on it, we had our chances, and as Nick says, it could have gone either way.
Yeah, totally. I think on another day you get at least a draw from that game, and actually I probably thought it'll be fine. As Nick said, we'll win on Sunday against Watford, and actually 3 points out of those 2 games won't be too bad. But I didn't think we played that badly against Newcastle. I think as Glenn mentioned, it was sod's law that 2 of their new signings were going to score the goals and that sort of thing. But actually, on another day, I think you get something from that game. I thought there was lots more energy than there was today, and we spoke earlier maybe about the 3 games in 8 days, but I thought the lineup for that game was right. I thought the way that we went about it was right. I just didn't think we had the luck of the bounce, really.
Newcastle definitely came for a draw, didn't they? I think, Glenn, they disrupted the game's rhythm with every opportunity they had, and it felt like the narrative was there that we just weren't going to win. And just talking to some fans before the game, everybody just thought, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. It just felt like we were set up for defeat on Thursday.
It seemed to be all set up for us to lose, but we didn't help ourselves. I mean, Nick mentioned the first goal that we let in. We're 1-0 up. You keep it tight. For me, John Joe Shelvey is a good player, but he's got no pace, and if you close him down, he can't play. And he could have had a bath and changed his kit in the time that he had to put that cross in, because when you look at it, Romeo and Ward-Prowse are just stood there. They're just stood there, but they're not stood 3 yards from him. They stood 15 yards from him going, go on, you cross it. And Chris Wood, who hasn't been able to hit a barn door since he signed for Newcastle, I mean, if he could have chosen a scenario, then it's that. And yeah, Salisu probably should have done a bit better, but I find it quite difficult to defend, to go in on Salisu, because to be honest, people always go in on defenders, and I've done it in the past for losing players and whatnot. But if there's no pressure on the ball, it just makes it so much easier for the forwards to line you up, and that was the problem with that goal. I mean, I've developed an irrational hatred for Eddie Howe. I think I need help with it. And I've also even more irrational hatred for Jason Tyndall, because he's just like, he's just nothing. I mean,
what did you refer to him as in your blog? I can't remember now. Can we repeat it or not?
Maybe not. Lapdog or something. It's just, Eddie gets sacked from Bournemouth or leaves or whatever, and they give Tyndall the job, and he gets sacked within 5 minutes. So that shows what he can do without Eddie Howe. But he's always there in his ear. I can't stand either of them. And Newcastle's sort of management of the game, shall we call it, in the second half was straight out of the Eddie Howe book that he had at Bournemouth for years. So I'm not the biggest fan, and I do, and I think most of what annoys me about him is the fact that he seems to have this Saint Eddie media image. But anyway, enough of my irrational hatred of people. But
not for much longer, I think. The way that he's sort of fielding the difficult questions he's now being asked as Newcastle manager.
yeah,
You know, I don't think he's particularly handling that well. He was asked today after the match at Stamford Bridge if he had a view on the fact that Saudi Arabia had a mass beheading of 81 people yesterday, and his reply was, "I'm sticking to football." And it's Eddie Howe's a bright bloke. You know, he knows who he's working for, and it's a difficult situation for him to be in. But I don't think that's going to get easier for him. The other thing I would say about the back to the football is Dubravka had a really good game. I mean, I can't remember who he made 4 saves, but one of them wasn't Gordon Banksian, but there was who I can't remember who.
The Stu Armstrong one, was it?
Yeah, the one where he dived to his right and
Salassu's
was it
header.
Salassu's
header at the end. Yeah.
I thought he did okay, but again, I thought we made it easy for them. We made it easy for them to defend. We didn't try and get round the block that they set up on the edge of their penalty area. We didn't try and go over it. We just funneled everything down the middle, tried to pick our way through. And yes, the stats might have looked good, but I reckon, you know, if you take our very high pass completion rate, most of that would have been in front of 8 Newcastle players.
Yeah,
you know,
I get it.
Yeah, I mean, talking about stats is always a bit of a dangerous one, and I am likely to jump down your throat because the bottom line is that it's what you do in both penalty areas that matters. What you do in the middle half of the pitch, you know, either side of halfway. At the end of the day, it's propaganda, as Gordon Strachan used to say. Passing the ball around there, great. It's what you do in the boxes. And we created a couple of chances. Similar to today, we created a couple of chances in the last couple of minutes against Newcastle, and we did today against Watford. But it's just not enough. There was not enough urgency in either performance for me in the second half.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I think we were complacent to degrees in both games, particularly today. And the last thing I'll say on this is I'm assuming, Glenn, that you're taking no solace from the fact that we were XG winners today.
Give
1.48 versus 1.25.
Well, that's good. How many points do we get for that?
Oh, joy.
In the XG table, I don't know. 3?
Ben, just on the Newcastle game, have teams worked out how to play against us now? We talked about that at Villa. They seem to have a plan. Newcastle certainly did. We couldn't get around them. We were playing a lot of the game in front of them. And to a certain extent, again, today, they were well drilled. Is this going to be a problem now?
I think we've always struggled against teams, Martin, that have come to St Mary's and kind of, I wouldn't say Newcastle sat deep, but ultimately try and encourage us onto them and then exploit or we know from the game against Burnley a few years ago, lumping it up to Chris Wood, we know what teams are going to do. I mean, that's why they've signed him, right? So I don't think that teams have necessarily worked out how to play against us. What I think is that we've just not done ourselves justice the last couple of games. And I think really that's probably the thing that's going to kick the team and kick Ralph over the next couple of weeks while they're mulling it over during the FA Cup ahead of the next Premier League game. So I think, as we said earlier, the positives are that we haven't played as well as we could have in both of those games and we've lost them. If we played well and lost, it'd be a different thing. But you got to understand in the Premier League, analysts are watching teams all the time. And even if you change something one week, you'll then have to change it again the following week because teams will be on to you. So I think you just have to be aware that results can change quite quickly. And, the point was made earlier, just to finish, is that we are quite streaky under Ralph. We always have been. We win a batch of games, we lose a batch of games. And this just feels like one of those bad periods, unfortunately.